Welcome to the Audiation in the Wild podcast with your hosts, Bo Talifer and Eric Rasmussen. Episode 25, Perspectives of a Daughter of an MLT Teacher and Her Experience with Public School Music Education. Well, welcome everybody. Today I decided to have a conversation with my daughter. We're having a couple technical issues, so we've got some podcasts that are in the can, but rather than flying solo today on my own, which Bo suggested I try, I thought it might be nice to interview my daughter, Sarah.
Hi.
Hi. And we're having a discussion about how to start. How would you like to start?
We just started.
Yay, we did. So you were in my classes back
whenever I could go until whenever I couldn't go.
From birth to 6 or 7 were my classes. You were in my classes. And then...
That's a lot of years.
Yeah. Especially that, because the times you... Oh, chicken.
Chicken.
Meow. What's the matter? That's our cat, Chicken. So you got a lot of tonalities, a lot of meters. You got a lot of styles. We danced and moved in my classes and all that. But then, that was just your world. Plus, on top of that, you enjoyed, what were some of the stuff that you enjoyed in your childhood? Some of the music?
I don't know. What did I even listen to?
When
I was 7?
The Wiggles.
Oh, yeah.
You were little.
I liked the Wiggles a lot.
You liked the Wiggles a lot. I remember I felt, as a music teacher, I was sad because the Wiggles weren't necessarily musically very...
But it was fun, and I liked it, and it was colorful, and they were happy.
Exactly.
I probably watched the one Christmas special like 100 times. But anyway.
Yeah, you certainly enjoyed it. You had a great time. You were very focused. You also did the same thing with the Harry Potter movies. There's some great music in the Harry Potter movies.
I guess I did watch those a lot, like the earlier ones when I was younger. I never read the books, but the music was cool, and I would sing along.
Yeah, you could sing along. You remembered all the themes. You could imitate and actually sing all that, like Hedwig and everybody. Voldemort. And that stuff was easy for you to digest and learn on your own. I cannot sing that melody.
That's the other one. I don't even know what that one is.
It cracks me up how much music. So any music that you were involved with, the funniest thing, and I laughed so hard, was you started. There's the fish game that you had. Was that on?
I don't know what your demographic is here, but I would play Club Penguin on the internet. And they had this one mini game where you would fish. You would just fish. You were a penguin and you were ice fishing, and it would have this music in the background. And I would play this game for hours and hours, and I would just ingest that song, and now it is forever engraved.
So, but like 10 years later, and you haven't played that game in forever, you're in high school, and and you just started singing it. I don't remember why you started singing it, but
I guess it just got stuck in my head. Sometimes they just resurface.
Yeah. What's that one sound like?
That one's like do 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 do. And then it keeps going.
And you could sing the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
That's even the same. I sometimes I have good relative pitch, and that's even the same.
You should
key.
find it. We should find it
right now.
No, just like insert it later.
Yeah, and the other thing I need to talk about for me was like you turned me on. I liked the Beatles a little bit, or I knew about them, but I didn't appreciate them near as much. But you learned 5 Beatles albums: Abbey Road, Help, Sergeant Pepper, and a couple others. And you, when you were 5 years old, you used to take Help, and you would tell me to put them in a better order because you can't break up until you're going to love that girl
in the order of the story, and like, not the progression of the album as they had said it.
You turned it into a concept album before the Beatles came out with a concept album.
Well, they had already come out with a concept album at that point.
Before Help, I don't know actually, but maybe doesn't matter.
Well, no, I don't mean in like the order that they released it. I just mean like it was already out.
Yeah.
It was like, was I really 5?
5 or 6. You weren't very old.
Because I got all those albums from Pop Pop.
No, we bought them from a Craigslist ad.
Oh, never mind.
And then Pop Pop added a whole bunch.
He added them.
Yeah, he added a whole bunch of good stuff for you that we didn't have, too. So you had music from what your mom sang to you when you were in utero. You had the music classes.
What did she sing to me?
I don't know. You'd have to ask her more about what she played. But when she played the radio, she would sing along with the radio stuff that she liked.
She'd put her face to her belly.
Well, you can put. No, you hear inside the womb without mom having to do anything, and that's why you like your mom's voice and your dad's voice when you're born. Those are the first 2 sounds that you're attracted to. So that just means that when you're inside the womb, the last trimester especially, that you can absorb what's going on in the outside world. And some people actually do headphones on the belly, and we never did that.
That seems intense. That seems like a...
But the people that I know that did that...
Blast with speakers.
With Mozart and Beethoven and stuff like the kids that did that, and the parents really were intense about that. It's crazy what those kids could do early in life.
Why didn't you do that for me?
It wasn't.
I could have actually done something with
this. You're so good on your own, and you don't realize. But it's not what you're motivated to do, no. And that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, like I played trumpet from like 4th grade, like 5th grade, until like halfway through high school.
But you kept going with the Peabody ensemble, with the Peabody, with Mr. Eli. You kept going.
What? No, I did not.
No,
I never did wind orchestra.
you did Mr. Eli, didn't you?
No, I did
Oh,
not.
okay.
What?
You just went, okay, I've forgotten.
You created your own narrative about my musical success.
I thought you had gone into
No.
that.
No. I stopped like the next year after that. If I had like actually practiced, that would have been the year. If I had actually practiced, I would have been a couple years before that.
Yeah.
But like I just didn't
Yeah.
have the motivation to. I didn't want to. Oh, I gotta go pick up my trumpet right now, and I want to get really good at it. It was like, okay, I kind of have to do this so that I don't embarrass myself when I go to practice.
What was your experience of band in junior or in middle school and high school?
In middle school, like in school,
Yeah.
it was very slow. In middle school, there were like 30 trumpets or something. Like something bonkers.
All in the band at the same time?
It must not have been that many, but like something crazy like that. And it was just like really slow and boring. And I just remember like not really clicking with the people that were around me. And it was really slow learning. Like we would be going over things that I had been doing for years before.
What were your experiences of the concerts? Because I remember going to pick you up at the concerts, and on the way home you'd talk about it, and you would just say, Dad.
I don't even remember. Like, what would I say about it?
Or even high school concerts. I would get you and bring you back.
What would I say about it? That it was like
you're
bad, or that it was annoying?
You say, Dad, they're just out of tune. Dad, that's just awful. You would say, Dad.
Oh,
like,
well,
just
yeah.
shake your head at the musicianship. It wasn't.
Well, yeah, it's just a bunch of kids like blowing into their horn as hard as they can. Like,
the emphasis was getting the notes read, right?
yeah, like that's the note. It was the feel and musicality of it was like the cherry on top. It was like the finishing touch, like the week before we would have our concert. And up until then, it was just like getting the technicalities correct. Like, are you playing the right note? Are you counting the rhythms? It wasn't like, are you listening to each other? Are you understanding the feel of it? Like, what's going on in the whole context of the piece? Like, and it would just go on, and I was just like sit there and listen to the instructors like yell at everyone for not counting correctly. And like I have this memory of so we would get assigned sometimes to go home for homework and write the counts out on the paper, and it would be like checked for homework, like a grade. And you would tell me to not do it. You just say whatever, like, don't, whatever. Like, that's stupid. You would just say that's stupid.
I would, yeah.
You would just say it's stupid.
But you would do it, maybe you would do it
That would-
easily.
Yeah. But, like, there were a couple of times where, like, I didn't do it. And I would either, like, I would explain to the teacher why my dad told me not to do it.
Uh-oh.
And then that, it didn't necessarily get me in trouble, but it definitely ruffled the feathers because then here's this kid like telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about. Here's this 12-year-old telling me that she knows better than my graduate level of music education for grade school. And it would usually like get brushed off like whatever, and they wouldn't argue with me, but they would just kind of roll their eyes and like understand because they knew that you studied all of it and were my dad. Less so in like my high school band director and middle school band director, but especially at Peabody, like when I would be told to write out the counts and then I wouldn't have them, it would just kind of be like, okay, like that's a Rasmussen, or like
you
that's
knew,
Eric's daughter.
you knew the rhythms without writing the counts.
You know,
Once you heard it.
Like once I had the sound in my head, then I would know it, no problem. But I couldn't ever like look at the piece of paper and say, this is how it sounds.
Right.
I would have to hear it played for me or like listen to a recording. I would needed to hear it and then I would be able to play it. Like I can't. You would make fun of me because I would write fingerings on my paper, but like I just didn't like. That stuff didn't click because I didn't practice it enough. Like I wasn't dedicated enough to drill it, to do those like muscle memory things. But like once I heard it and understood what it's supposed to sound like.
Yeah, I never pushed hard by the time you were getting older in my classes to get ready to read much. I was more concerned about developing a foundation of understanding.
Yeah. And that's where you stop.
And that's where we stopped.
Yeah.
And then you went to public school.
And then I went to public school, and then that is
it didn't
like
connect.
Well, it didn't connect because it wasn't challenging. It wasn't like after that point of like, okay, I have that foundation like in my sponge brain. Like the complexity of what we were reading was like miles behind what I had been listening to my whole life. So like that reading part of it, I was never like challenged or had anything new to read, I think. So like I didn't get that practice, and I didn't have any other like means of practicing that, like just reading, like sight reading. Oh my god. No.
Yeah,
Like, I can't.
so many
I
people
could
are.
never. I auditioned for, like, all county band 1 year. I didn't want to do it, like, the whole entire time of middle school. I only auditioned in middle school, I think. But I didn't want to do it because it was just, like, long days around people that I don't really mesh with. And and I did the audition, and I think I messed up. Like, I think I messed up a really stupid scale, and then the sight reading, and then that was just like game over.
Almost everybody has so much trouble with sight reading, even at the college level and beyond. I have trouble with it. I like to learn the way you're learning now. And I shouldn't have been so critical and put you in between me and your other teachers back then. But I just was so frustrated that
I don't know,
music
it didn't
education.
really affect me that much.
Okay.
It was just like, it didn't affect me. I mean, I was fine.
And
It
your
was just funny.
and your tribe was not the band people.
I don't
It's
know.
not
It's like silly, like clicks,
socially. Yeah.
like the band kids, but like uh, stereotypes sometimes can be that way for a reason. And let me tell you, these band kids, my 11-year-old self was not having it. The just like
You're very socially progressive, by the way. You know
mm,
that, but I'm just saying for the audience.
mm.
You're open to the way anybody is.
Yeah. Yeah, like however you come is very cool.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? I just what I'm fascinated by is somebody when I hear you sing, when I watch you dance at the jazz festival, over the years, or when um, you're with your friends and there's music going on, like some of the stuff that you do is way beyond how I can remember. Uh, like stuff that I had early in life, I don't remember it. You hold these so much of music, of the video games, of the movies. I watch those movies with you, and I can't hold on to those or sing the themes and like that. I need help. I'm a little slower than you musically, but I've been deep and slow for a long time, and that has helped me teach better because it wasn't so easy for me. I think the way you learn music is really easy for you, but the way you were taught was hard or boring, like you said. Hard because you didn't have access to the fun of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was a big part of it, of me not sticking with it, is yeah, I was missing the fun. Like, the fun that I got was the satisfaction of, like, finally getting something and playing something well that I was having trouble with, but the process getting there, I didn't like. I wasn't determined to go through that process. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know.
So here's a good musician that didn't find fun. And so there are a lot of great musicians that I had friends with in high school that weren't part of the band. And these people were professional musicians after high school, very early. They went out to
Hmm.
California. They were doing studio recordings. There's some of my friends that we played in the band, that were really good. And I was among the better trumpet. I was one of the better trumpet players that was in the band Tribe, and I had. It was the one thing I was good at. I didn't have other things that I was that good at compared to everything else. I was good at math until I got to trigonometry. I could never go beyond that.
SOHCAHTOA.
SOHCAHTOA.
I don't even remember what that means.
It's the
triangle. The sign.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, I know cosine and sine.
I used to know it.
And try all those anyway.
Whatever.
You were really good at that stuff. You were really good at your art. You continue that in college. You have a lot of different interests. I was just so much better at music than anything else I think I had, other than, math, but only up to a certain point. And I didn't get a lot of joy out of math, so I didn't pursue math or anything. But that you can have such talent and not have it be nurtured well through typical public education, band, orchestra, chorus. Speaking of chorus, we got to talk a little bit about that. But certainly high school band, not being part of the crowd was an issue. But the other thing you did is you were in a really elite chorus with Miss Falvey at Peabody.
Yeah, I was in the children's chorus.
The choristers?
For a few years. Yeah, I did 2 years of choristers and then a year of cantate.
Cantate was the top level, and there were high school kids in there. What was your experience? I'm not talking to you, chicken. What was your... Chicken. Chicken's upset we were away at the jazz festival for so long. I think he's still... Come here. What was your experience with the performance level of cantate and how that was taught?
I really liked it. I remember liking it a lot more than even like band at Peabody, I think, even though we did it for less. It was a lot more about feeling the music. And I don't know, I liked learning the technicalities of vocal performance, I think, was interesting, like
mouth shape and tongue placement.
Yeah, and like
posture.
Having your in your head voice or your chest voice, like all those little things that you wouldn't really think about if you're just singing along to a song.
Mm-hmm.
But how all those tiny little details can make it sound so much better.
Yeah, Miss Falvey is pretty great as the choral director, and her emphasis was what, like on a beautiful sound.
Mm-hmm.
That was her primary interest, wasn't it?
Yeah, was on.
And all the languages you learned.
Yeah, we did like German and French and Italian.
And the music wasn't all that difficult, but it doesn't have to be difficult to be beautiful.
Some of it was kind of tricky. Some of it kind of like branched off. But no, that was the last year I did it though. Yeah. I think after that I was like, overwhelmed because it was just a lot to learn, and at that point, if I wasn't doing extra practice outside of just the weekly rehearsals, then I was kind of done for, which I didn't really do, so I just kind of hung on and did my best.
And you were also in some AP classes, AP
Not
French,
that many.
AP Physics.
No. Oh my god.
You didn't do AP Physics?
No, why
Which
do you
one?
keep
Oh,
making...
chemistry.
No, I did
Which
not.
one?
You keep making up all
I
these,
forget.
like...
I don't remember. I don't remember.
You just have a higher standard of me in your head than I actually did. I was not...
Because you keep blowing me away with
No.
your progression. I'm sorry.
No, AP Physics, AP
really
Chemistry was
remember.
way above. Well, I mean, if I wanted to do it, then I probably could have, but
Well, you
I
did
just
some.
had no
What did you
interest.
do? You did AP
I did AP Psych, I did AP French,
and
I
something
did
else.
AP Calc.
Calc. That's like, okay, so not chemistry, it wasn't chemistry. Okay.
No.
But you weren't like doing nothing else but music, like outside
Well,
outside
I
of
mean,
school.
Outside of school, besides homework, like besides class stuff, I didn't really have any other hobbies or any of that. What would you call it? Like a extracurricular.
Mm-hmm. No sports.
No, I didn't do sports. I didn't have any other thing besides music until I didn't have music, like the last couple years of high school, because I didn't want to do it anymore.
We had a pretty tight circle of friends, not always the same group from year to year, or from middle school to high school certainly, but you had a good circle of friends that you enjoyed a lot. But music to me gives people an opportunity to enjoy life in a way they can't if they don't have it. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, like
whether or not you become a professional musician or become a music teacher or anything else in the music industry.
I guess when I listen to any kinds of music, I have a different perspective on it because of what you've been drilling into my head since birth.
But when's the last time I was drilling anything?
I don't know. Did you put up any shelves recently?
You're talking about a literal drill. Yeah, we were. It brings value to your life.
Yeah. Chicken agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have an appreciation for when music is well performed, I guess. Because I mean, I don't want to say like an appreciation for good music because that's super subjective. And like something that you would say a lot about, like, I don't know, like pop songs or whatever, like I would listen to. It's like, you wouldn't call it like bad music, but like something in that vein. But what you actually meant was maybe overproduced or just simple.
I would be specific about what I didn't like.
Yeah, but ultimately, good music is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
And like I kind of enjoy listening to that kind of stuff that you can't stand to have in the room.
Most of what you play when I hear it, when you're playing music up in your room or wherever, I find interesting. I even ask you about it once in a while
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
because it's outside of my listening experience.
I think it's just interesting that having all of that exposure.
Is there anything else you wanted to say about that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think it's very interesting that with all of the exposure to various musical education types for my whole growing up, that just I didn't want it. I didn't want it. Like, I was like, okay, that's like kind of fine, but I wasn't passionate about it. And why exactly? I don't know. I just didn't really want to sit there and do that. But I
I,
want to sit there and do a lot of other things.
yeah, yeah. I hope you didn't feel like I wanted you to because that's what I
No,
did.
I didn't. I didn't feel that like directly. Like, I knew at a certain point that it was just like, I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do. Um,
And then you go, what's funny is you end up at Temple. I did my master's and PhD, but in a different program. You're in
yeah,
business, and you've got, let's make a plug for your earrings.
yeah.
I'll put that in the show notes, a little
Show
plug.
notes. Click the description down below. Yeah, I make earrings. That's something that I am passionate about. That I will sit there and do for hours. I make earrings. I sell them on Etsy. I make beads and with wires and polymer clay.
Yeah, people can check them out all online. They're beautiful.
It's Sriracha Egg, SARAHCHA, egg, on Etsy.
Yeah, we'll put a link. But no, it's great work, and you do spend hours, and some of the designs you come up with are really attractive. And do you think music has any inspiration for any of that? You think they cross over?
It's some deep brain stuff. Not in the conscious.
Yeah.
But
Do you play music while you're doing it? Does that help or hurt?
it's I don't know if it. I mean, again, like deep deep in the brain waves.
Yeah.
Maybe, probably, but
Down
it's
in the
not
amygdala, like there's certain
emotional responses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whatever I have on in the background is kind of just like background noise. It's like white noise.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's doing something to the neurons.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Well, thank you for doing this. I appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.
And I think people get some value out of it. I'll take some of the tantrum and maybe some of the chicken. Chicken. What's she doing? All right. So there's our latest episode.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.